Hello, my name is Logan Douglas, and today I am here with Cam LeBon, and today we are going to be talking about our ideas on wholeness. So I will be starting. My idea of wholeness is having sort of strengths that are suited toward your personality, and then how to be able to improve those strengths. So for example, I'm a very competitive person. When I completed the Clifton Strengths Test, which can be completed by anybody, this kind of gives yourself and others an idea of how you sort of work and what kind of makes you tick, to be able to help you achieve your potential during things throughout your life. So to improve my competitiveness, um, I would do things to help like give me like an edge. So like whether or not that's like zoning out during like a tournament, or like putting practice in more than what other people are doing. Another thing would be just trying to make sure I'm focused at all times throughout anything that I'm doing, whether or not that is a team lift with the golf team, practicing in the simulator room or on the course, depending on the weather, um, and just trying to be as the best I can in whatever I do. Now I'm going to hand it over to Cam LeBon.
Yeah, I can kind of start with you there. Being a member of the golf team also with you, something that makes you whole, um, with having that edge, like you said, being competitive, and as a person, there's a lot of aspects to being whole. Like you said, in that Clifton Strengths Test, for me it was being competitive, and having good ideology. So coming up with things that would make me whole, or being competitive, always giving 110% to be the best I can. Something that I talked about in our paper for English class was I really broke down wholeness outside of, what makes you whole as a person, and brought in the spiritual aspect and the physical aspect, and then also the mental aspect. And to be physically whole, I think it really goes in with kind of that personality wholeness, like you talked about, where you're, kind of in a unimpaired state or condition, and where you're kind of in good health. That was a definition from the Oxford English Dictionary, and I use that one quite a bit throughout my paper, just because I think that, to be whole, you're, like I said, you're unimpaired, you're in a good condition, just being free from all the bad. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on physical wholeness?
Yeah, I think that's like really important, especially like now, like to do with like kind of the sort of obesity crisis that are happening in America and also in Europe. Then I feel like it's like really good to be kind of physically whole, like to be able to like go to the gym, or like just be able to like eat some healthier sometimes. Then I feel like it's really important, because like at the end of the day, that's just gonna help you have like fulfill a better lifestyle and be able to like live like sort of a better life.
Yeah, exactly. I'll definitely side with there. Like I said, big definition is, not being perfect, but kind of complete, finished, fully developed. That was from Elder Cecil Samuelson. He said, "Being perfect means that we are complete, finished, and fully developed." So I think, what I talked about in my paper is being whole isn't always being perfect. It's just, what you are. It's really you. Everyone's different. Nobody's perfect. So I think that was a really good example that he gave there. And then another thing I talked about was mental wholeness, and how being in a good mental state, it's very similar to being in a healthy physical state, only it's mentally. You gotta let go of everything and just kind of allow change, and um, kind of balance everything out. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on mental wholeness?
Yeah, like especially like to deal with like our kind of generation, like it's crazy like how bad like some people's mental health is, and like sort of the mental health crisis that is happening
Right.
across like the whole world. And I feel like it's like one of the most important things to be able to like to be able to be mentally whole within yourself, and be able to just like accept change, like you said,
Right.
and being able to just kind of like go with the flow kind of thing,
Yeah.
and just like kind of not let things like get you as much as what they possibly did in the past.
Right. And you know, like you said, with people's you know, their mental state and their mental health, you know, like I said, with physical wholeness, nobody's perfect, right?
Yeah.
That's why you know, there's a definition there, a quote there that, you know, being whole isn't always about being perfect, and that's what I think a lot of people get caught up in with in themselves, is they're trying to be perfect, and it just leads to, you know, bad mental states, you know, depression and whatever else. And people just got to let go of that and, you know, allow change and just let everything kind of balance out. So me personally, you know, I'm a pretty faithful person, and it really it was pretty easy for me to talk about spiritual wholeness, that third main aspect, and you know, being spiritually whole, you know, you really got to kind of dig down and find what God has designed for you. And being God always wants people to be perfect, right? So this is where that idea of perfection kind of comes into play a little bit more. But you know, people were originally created sinless, you know, and I did a little bit of research through the Faith and Health Connection, and they had discussed, you know, how, like I said, people were created sinless, and to attain spiritual wholeness, they went through God, right? And when you sin, you lose that spiritual wholeness, so you got to get it back, and so that's where you kind of just dig down and find God's acceptance. So I mean, I don't know about you. What are your thoughts on?
So I am a Christian. I am a Catholic. Don't get me wrong. I am not the best Catholic, and by any means, I do not go to church every Sunday. But I must commend you, Cam, because you are the kind of person who goes to church every Sunday. And for you to be able to be that in touch with your faith, I really respect, and I kind of respect people who are the same as you, who like are so strict with their lifestyle, just to be able to like embrace God and feel like God is at their corner like all the time.
For sure.
And I feel like that kind of also connects to mental wholeness, because like as you were saying, God has a plan for everybody.
Right.
So like sometimes I think you need to just kind of embrace that fact and be like, right, so this is what God has planned for me. I'm sure he's gonna, if it was something bad that happened, then God is then gonna bring something even better along.
Right.
So I feel like that kind of connects to mental wholeness as well.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good statement you made there. I mean, like you said, you know, God has a plan for everyone, and to be whole, we just gotta kind of allow His plan to just take place, and you know, go with the flow, go back to mental wholeness, allow change in our lives, and just kind of go from there. I mean, like you said, you know, physical wholeness, you're in a good physical working condition. Mental wholeness, you're letting go, allowing that change, be in a good, healthy state of mind. Spiritual, you know, having a good, healthy soul, and accept God's plans, you know, and accept what He has planned for the past, present, and you know, the afterlife when in heaven. So, I mean, that's all I got. Anything else you got to add?
No, but thank you for joining us today, though, Cam. That was a great sort of essay you've written there about all sorts of aspects of wholeness.
Perfect.
Right,
Thank you.